On planet Earth, there are places so extreme that one small mistake can cost you your life. Places where nature, humans, or deadly creatures turn any visit into a high-risk mission. Today, I'll show you the 10 most dangerous places in the world. Places you probably never want to visit. Buckle up, because this is about to get intense. 10. Mount Washington. Mount Washington, a mountain that stands at only 6,288 feet, or 1,917 meters. Now you might be thinking, that's not that tall. But don't be fooled, this is not just a mountain. This is one of the most brutal, unpredictable, and dangerous places on Earth. Located in New Hampshire, USA, Mount Washington doesn't kill with height. It kills with weather. Welcome to the home of the worst weather in America. In 1934, Mount Washington recorded the highest wind speed ever measured on Earth by humans not inside a tornado. 231 miles per hour, 372 kilometers per hour. Strong enough to rip buildings apart, flip cars, and throw a human like a leaf. Temperatures here can drop to minus 40 degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit. It doesn't matter. At that point, it's the same, and the wind chill can reach minus 75. And just to make matters worse, the weather can change in minutes, with almost zero warning. More than 150 people have died on Mount Washington. Many were experienced hikers. Some were scientists. Some never stood a chance. 9. Lake Natron. What if I told you that a lake exists, so deadly, it can turn animals into stone? This is Lake Natron, one of the most terrifying, mysterious, and beautiful places on Earth. Located in northern Tanzania, near the border of Kenya, Lake Natron looks like something from another planet. It sits in the heart of the Great Rift Valley and can reach temperatures of 60 degrees Celsius, 140 degrees Fahrenheit. The water is not just hot, it's also extremely alkaline. Lake Natron has a pH level as high as 12. That's almost as corrosive as ammonia or bleach. And that's why most animals that accidentally fall into this lake don't survive. You've probably seen the viral images. Birds, bats, animals locked in place, looking like stone statues. These creatures weren't turned into stone like magic. The water is so rich in minerals like natron and soda ash that it preserves their bodies, covering them in a crust until they appear fossilized. 8. North Sentinel Island. There is an island where time stopped thousands of years ago, a land untouched by the modern world, a place so secret, so protected, that simply approaching it can cost you your life. This is North Sentinel Island, the most isolated, dangerous, and forbidden place on Earth. North Sentinel Island is part of the Andaman Islands in the Bay of Bengal, Indian Ocean. Surrounded by coral reefs, dense jungle, and mystery, this tiny island hides something nowhere else on Earth still exists. A completely uncontacted human tribe. They are known as the Sentinelese. They have lived here for more than 60,000 years, possibly the oldest uncontacted society in the world. They have no smartphones, no cities, no social media, no modern medicine. They hunt, fish, and live exactly as their ancestors did in the Stone Age. And they want one thing from the outside world: to be left alone. The island is illegal to visit. The Indian government has completely restricted access to protect both the tribe and the outsiders. Not because the tribe is evil, but because contact could wipe them out. The Sentinelese have zero immunity to modern diseases, meaning a common flu could kill an entire population. There have been attempts to communicate from a distance. In the 1970s, researchers tried offering gifts like coconuts, fish, and tools. The tribe accepted some items, but made their message very clear. Warning shots from bows and arrows. They didn't want friendship, they wanted distance. In 2018, an American man attempted to reach the island illegally, believing he could make contact. He was warned many times, but he still went, alone at night, by boat. The Sentinelese defended their home. He did not survive. 7. Death Valley. What if I told you there is a place on Earth where the ground burns, the air can kill, and water disappears before it touches the soil? Welcome to Death Valley, the hottest, driest, and most extreme place in the United States. Located in eastern California, near the Nevada border, Death Valley sits inside the Mojave Desert. It is part of the lowest point in North America, at 282 feet, or 86 meters, below sea level. But it's not the depth that makes this place terrifying, it's the heat. On July 10, 1913, Furnace Creek in Death Valley recorded a temperature of the hottest air temperature ever recorded in human history. But the ground gets even hotter, up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit 93 degrees Celsius. Hot enough to cook an egg or burn skin in seconds. The valley traps heat like an oven. The mountains block moisture, storms, and airflow. Almost no rain falls here. Some areas haven't seen rain in decades. The air removes moisture from everything. Plants, animals, and even your body. Fast. Surprisingly, yes. Coyotes, kit foxes, hawks, snakes, scorpions, and a rare species called the devil's hole pupfish. A fish that lives in water hot enough to kill most other species. And plants? Some of them only bloom once every 5 or 10 years, when the rain finally falls. This is not just survival. This is nature refusing to give up. 6. Danakil Desert. What if hell had a physical address on Earth? Scorching heat, poisonous gases, acid lakes, exploding ground. Welcome to the Danakil Desert, the most extreme, brutal, and uninhabitable place on the planet. The Danakil Desert is located in the Afar Triangle, in northern Ethiopia, stretching into Eritrea and Djibouti. It sits 100 meters below sea level, one of the lowest points on Earth, and one of the hottest. Temperatures here don't just get high, they stay high. The average temperature is 94 degrees Fahrenheit 34 degrees Celsius year-round, but in the dry season, it reaches 122 degree F, 50 degrees Celsius. In the shade. And shade almost doesn't exist. This place looks like another planet, because it behaves like one. You'll find acid lakes that can burn skin, toxic sulfur clouds that steal your breath, yellow crystals formed from pure poison, ground so hot it melts rubber, active volcanoes splitting the land apart. This isn't just a desert. It's the place where Earth is still being created and destroyed at the same time. At the heart of Danakil is Dalal, one of the most toxic environments ever studied. The water looks beautiful, bright green, yellow, neon orange. But a single drop can burn your skin. The air is filled with chlorine and sulfur gases. This place has zero oxygen-producing life. Scientists say it is one of the few places on Earth where life simply cannot exist. 5. Oymyakon Ruja. What if I told you there is a place on Earth where your saliva freezes before it hits the ground, where car engines run 24 hours a day, and where eyelashes turn to ice within seconds? Welcome to Oymyakon, Russia, the coldest permanently inhabited place on the planet. Oymyakon is a tiny village deep in Siberia, in the Sakha Republic, more than 9,000 kilometers from Moscow, and surrounded by endless frozen wilderness. Only about 500 people live here, and winter here doesn't just get cold, it becomes inhuman. In 1933, Oymyakon recorded a temperature of -67.7 degrees C, or -89.9 degrees Fahrenheit, the coldest temperature ever recorded in any place where people actually live. And some locals claim it has reached even colder, below -70 degrees Celsius. At -50 degrees Celsius, metal sticks to your skin like glue. At -55 degrees Celsius, your eyes can feel like they're freezing shut. At -60 degrees Celsius, breathing too deeply can freeze your lungs from the inside. And frostbite? That can begin in less than 30 seconds. Life here doesn't adapt to winter. Life depends on it. Most houses don't have indoor plumbing, because the pipes would freeze solid. So water is delivered in ice blocks and melted when needed. Cars cannot be turned off outdoors. If you stop the engine, it might never start again. And crops? Forget it. The ground is frozen year-round. The diet here is mostly meat, fish, reindeer, and horse milk, because vegetables simply cannot grow. 4. Snake Island. There is an island so dangerous that visiting it is completely forbidden. A place where the ground moves, not because of the wind, but because of snakes. This is Snake Island, officially known as Ilha de Queimada Grande, the most dangerous island on Earth. Snake Island is located off the coast of Brazil, about 35 kilometers from São Paulo, in the Atlantic Ocean. It looks like a normal tropical island, covered in forest, cliffs, and mystery. But this island holds a secret, one deadly secret. Thousands of venomous snakes. Some estimates say there is 1 snake per square meter on parts of the island. Imagine walking, and every single step could be your last. The island is home to a species found nowhere else on Earth, the golden lancehead viper. This snake is not just venomous. It is one of the most venomous snakes in the world. Its venom is so powerful it can melt human flesh, cause internal bleeding, shut down organs, kill in less than an hour if untreated. Thousands of years ago, rising sea levels separated this island from mainland Brazil, trapping the snakes here. With no land predators and endless birds to hunt, the species multiplied and evolved into a super predator. And because there are no mammals, the snakes hunt birds, striking from trees with terrifying precision. The Brazilian government banned civilians from visiting the island for obvious reasons. But history still has stories, dark ones. One legend tells of a fisherman who ignored the warnings and docked on the island to collect bananas. He was found days later, in his boat, lifeless, covered in bite marks. 3. The Bermuda Triangle. Over 50 ships, 20 airplanes, and more than 1,000 lives lost, without a trace. In the Atlantic Ocean lies a place where compasses fail, ships vanish, and explanations disappear. This is the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle isn't an island. It's not a marked zone. It's a region, a massive triangle-shaped area between Miami, Florida, Bermuda, Puerto Rico, an estimated 500,000 square miles of ocean, where strange things happen. This region gained infamy not because of storms, but because of disappearances that make no sense. No distress calls, no floating wreckage, no survivors, just gone. One of the most chilling cases happened on December 5, 1945. 5 U.S. Navy planes took off from Florida on a training mission, known as Flight 19. The weather was fine. The pilots were experienced. Everything was normal, until the radio call. Pilot, something is wrong. The ocean doesn't look as it should. We can't tell where west is. Our compasses are spinning. Narrator. And then, silence. Not only did the 5 planes disappear, but 1 rescue plane sent to find them also vanished. 14 airmen lost. 0 trace. Ships like the USS Cyclops disappeared with 306 people on board. Luxury yachts vanished without a single emergency call. Even modern planes have failed to explain failures in the region. 2. Death Road, Bolivia. A road so deadly that simply driving on it is a risk most people will never understand. No seatbelts, no guardrails, 1 small mistake, and it's a 600-meter fall into the void. Welcome to Death Road, Bolivia, the most dangerous road on Earth. This road, officially called El Camino a los Yungas, connects La Paz, the highest capital city in the world, to the Amazon rainforest region. It stretches for 64 kilometers, cutting through mountains, cliffs, and clouds. It may look like paradise, but it's one of the deadliest paths ever built. The facts are terrifying. The road is barely 3 meters wide in some sections. There are sharp turns with zero visibility. No guardrails, just open cliffs. Thick fog, rain, and waterfalls constantly hit the road. The surface used to be mostly dirt and mud. It was built in the 1930s by Paraguayan prisoners of war, and for decades, it was Bolivia's only route between the jungle and the capital. At its peak, it caused an estimated 200 to 300 deaths every year. That's more than one death every 2 days. Buses, trucks, cars, all swallowed by the mountainside. 1. Chernobyl. An explosion, a cover-up, a catastrophe that changed the world forever. On April 26, 1986, history witnessed the worst nuclear disaster ever recorded. This is the story of Chernobyl. Chernobyl is located in northern Ukraine, near the border with Belarus. It was home to a nuclear power plant, and next to it, a city built for its workers, Pripyat. A city once full of life, now frozen in time. On April 26, 1986, at 1:23 a.m., engineers ran a safety test on reactor number 4. But the test was poorly designed, rushed, and dangerously executed. In seconds, temperature and pressure went out of control. The reactor exploded, not once, but twice. The blast was 400 times more radioactive than the Hiroshima bomb. The reactor core was now exposed, burning radioactive fire into the sky. Toxic material traveled across Europe carried by wind, invisible, silent, deadly. And the worst part? The Soviet Union tried to hide it. Just 3 kilometers away, 50,000 people slept, unaware they were breathing poison. They were only evacuated 36 hours later, given 1 hour to pack. They were told they would return in a few days. No one ever did. And these were the 10 most dangerous places in the world. Fascinating, extreme, and deadly. Would you visit any of them? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. More extreme tops are coming. See you next time.